Get haters don't want a bit.
Yeah.
First time right into that boy Trap Lord Ross. I've been watching this shit for like a minute. I ain't never sat down and react to it. I might as well. I'm gonna watch it anyway. You know, I had to. Let me put that whole up. I'm not prepared. Trap Lord Ross. What this whole called? Model student turned serial killer. The Philly Joker. I didn't even know they were from Philly. I don't know much about the story. I seen about him because I seen Wallow. Is that Wallow? That was the one that son got killed. So I guess it's gonna be explained here anyway. But I had to get these snacks and some water. I wanted to get into the whole. I'm prepared. It's a bit long. I need to subscribe to that.
My new drops on Spotify, so go search me there. Here's the video. Philadelphia. It's home to some of the most treacherous streets in America. Beneath the surface of this.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know that Philly got active until I saw something on YBC Duel. Then the documentary went to like everything, not just his shit, but other surrounding areas like other neighborhoods and shit. Those niggas crazy. Those niggas disrespectful. Damn near more disrespectful than Chicago.
Walking the pavements of Philly, you need to look over your shoulder and keep a hand in your pocket, because walking these streets amongst you lurks an evil energy. It's hard to describe.
Evil energy.
In the pit of your stomach, evil eyes watching you, and nobody is safe. Earlier this year, a news story from Philadelphia gained international attention when an only 17-year-old straight-A student and star athlete Noah Scurry was brutally gunned down in the early morning hours as he was leaving for school with his mother. America would mourn the seemingly tragic murder of a model student caught in the wrong place the wrong time. It would turn out that things went far deeper and darker than anyone could have possibly imagined. As the days passed, people began to shine light into the shadows, and as more time went on, people would slowly piece together the shocking truth that Noah Scurry wasn't just a straight-A student caught up in the demonic forces of Philly streets. In fact, the truth was the danger when it emerged that in reality, Noah Scurry was living a double life, hitting the books and scoring points on the basketball by day. By night, he had a whole different identity, putting on a Joker mask.
I thought you were about to say scoring points in the street by night. That was that would have been funny. I'm gonna stop.
With allegedly over 5 bodies under his spell. The shocking truth was that even the most innocent-looking and well-to-do.
Look at this nigga here. I ain't gonna lie. I fuck with how much effort bro put into the video. This nigga dressed up like the Joker, bruh. Cause that nigga was wearing Joker mask.
Philly were outside at night, committing murders, and then going home like nothing had happened. What made this story even more strange and shocking is that it impacted residents of Philadelphia at the highest levels of society and fame. Because before all of this came out,
yeah, I seen it.
Former Philly rap legend and current podcast superstar Gilly the Kid.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I mean Gilly. I'll be watching them a lot, so my bad if I mix them up.
To a brutal triple shooting in 2023, the grief-stricken podcaster would show incredible strength and continue pushing a positive message in the years that followed. But the internet would eventually be plunged into a sense of shock when it was later revealed that Noah Scurry had likely been responsible for the murder of his son and would have likely been arrested for it had he not lost his life first. The strange story made concerned citizens of Philly ask the perplexing question: what would drive an apparently star student with his whole life ahead of him?
That's what I'm saying. You said honor roll.
The lives of other promising young men just like him. Well, the truth is much darker than anyone could have possibly.
It'd be crazy when like niggas get in the streets who don't even gotta get in the streets. They could have had like a whole different life. Couldn't live in. Got to the league. Played basketball.
Sometimes the most innocent seeming people hold the darkest of secrets.
Shit crazy.
We have to make a concerted effort to find solutions to the craziness that is plaguing our city.
They say Devin Spady, better known as Young Cheese, was one of 3
Young
people shot
Cheese.
in the 5800 block of Master Street in Albany Thursday night. He uses his platform to speak out against violence, and now violence has claimed the life of his son.
Tough.
What's done is done. But like you said, she's not coming back.
The search is on for the gunman who opened fire, taking the life of a 17-year-old boy.
Parents said he excelled in sports and was well liked.
Deadly gun violence continues to rise in Philadelphia with more and more young lives cut short. Last night, a 14-year-old boy became the latest child killed.
That's tough.
This was a
14-year-old boy. This is someone's son. This is someone's friend. And anti-violence advocates are saying these killings are creating a culture of fear in the city.
I know it is, cuz.
Feel like they're not being looked out for.
Community remembers a teen gunned down last week. And Dave, this is another victim of this senseless violence that's plaguing our city.
That was my mommy's baby. That was her world. He was our little brother.
He did not deserve to die like that.
Victim gunned down by 4 men who, for some unknown reason, opened fire into the playground. Police say shootings and murders are being fueled by hot-tempered Instagram posts between rival groups or individuals.
See, it's that posting shit, internet shit.
Happened around 5 this evening on the 4700 block of Oxford Avenue.
Police say the 16-year-old boy was ambushed and shot multiple times as he returned from his job at McDonald's late
Damn.
last night.
Right off the shift.
They were waiting for him to return from work.
Nigga say his face gone.
Police are looking for up to half a dozen shooters in cases that began yesterday afternoon. There were over 40 shell casings on the ground here. Officers say someone shot 2 people at this scene. One of them did die. The other is listed in critical condition this morning.
66-year-old man is dead, and 3 teens are hurt following a shooting last night in Frankfurt.
17-year-old is dead, the apparent target in this, and 4 other people were shot. 2 more teens and 2 women. This is an
Going
absolute outrage.
stupid.
It will be solved.
Because at the end of the day, many of these kids are coming from the same communities that they're shooting at.
Hey, the U.S. Marshals
That's crazy.
Task Force released this wanted poster. 17-year-old Asir Boo.
Wanted poster?
$5,000 reward attached. You have until
These
Wednesday
niggas living in
morning
one
to turn yourself
piece.
in.
That's crazy.
I'm wearing this type of clothing. Don't cook me.
Police say Tayshawn was riding his bike when a car pulled up and 3 masked people got out and began opening fire.
Dumping.
Was hit multiple times.
17?
Yeah, 17-year-old basketball player that just got shot 17 times.
Yes.
That's who killed my son.
A teenager was shot and killed steps from his home. The 17-year-old was on his way to school. The teenager was with his mother at the time.
He said school officials are identifying the 17-year-old tonight as Noah Scurry. He is described here at the high school as a great student and athlete. At least 20 shots fired in what they believe was a targeted attack.
The student who was killed was exceptional. No problems from him whatsoever, according to the principal and other staff members.
That's crazy.
He was out where he got a Joker mask on.
A screenshot of the video shows a man in a Joker mask, at times appearing to hold a gun. Sources tell Fox 29 they believe that to be Scurry.
Said you was gonna slide, you ain't slide yet.
Right.
Now I slid.
That nigga funny, bro. I'm sorry, bro. That elbow starting to hit. And that face he just made. Model student by day. Dang. Joker OTV. Born and raised in Philadelphia.
Has a long and dark history of
Damn.
violence, and in many cases this brand of brutality comes courtesy of the city's many historic gangs. Whether we're talking about the Italian mafia of the old days or the modern street gangs, Philly has been a treacherous place from the very start, and a big reason for the city's cutthroat mentality is its crushing poverty, as Philly has for a long time been the poorest big city in America. This poverty particularly affects Philly's black and Latino communities, whose poverty rates are about double compared to the white residents, despite them making up a majority of the population. This is also reflected in the city's significant residential segregation, the poor black communities of Philly being amongst the most segregated in the entire of America, with only Chicago having an even higher rate when it comes to America's big cities. And of course,
Chicago.
pockets of poverty, serious crime will usually follow, with gun violence in Philly being heavily concentrated amongst the poorest communities. Growing up in these active war zones can leave the youth there scarred with deep and long-lasting mental health issues. Some may turn to desperate measures to escape the surroundings, while others end up getting sucked into the violence themselves, a survival mechanism in a kill or be killed environment. This leads to some youths being consumed by the idea of revenge, while others may even get addicted to the violence itself and actually find pleasure and release in participating in the killing. This is the environment where Noah Scurry was born on May the 30th, 2007, his birth eerily coinciding with the filming of the movie The Dark Knight, the second installment of director Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, which would introduce the late actor Heath Ledger's critically acclaimed performance as the Joker. This new
is that the backstory behind why he wore the mask, bro?
Batman villain would later later become Noah's alter ego in the streets of Philly. Not much is known about Noah's early life, but based on what we do know, he appeared to have a relatively happy childhood. Noah's loving parents, Megan and Ron, did their best to provide for their young son. They would work hard to keep him fed and well clothed as a child. Always dripping in the latest Ralph Lauren, Noah was a stylish
Niggas say Ralph Lauren.
clearly cared for him and wanted the
Ralph
best for him.
Lauren.
His parents would do their best to keep Noah busy and focused on positive hobbies, as he would seemingly practice many different sports, from martial arts to baseball and of course basketball, where he would eventually excel the most.
He was talented. That made it even worse.
Make sure that Noah's intellectual side was equally stimulated, as he would show great promise in school as well, becoming an honor roll student.
That's crazy.
In his school's SATs, something even more impressive when you consider the fact his high school.
What that mug say? Fields in my high school are constantly ranked in the bottom of the past decade. That means that he was really just like you know, like a diamond around some rocks. Man, I mean, like, and that's crazy. He was really talented, though. Smart, talented.
Interesting aspect was having covered many demonic gangsters who seemingly came from violent upbringings that thrust them into the violence before they really knew better.
He just went.
Had a lot of love and support and was nurtured to excel.
That's what I'm saying. He just went and jumped off the porch.
By street culture since a young age. And while there are no signs that his family was in any way affiliated with gangs, he can often be seen throwing up what seemed like gang signs in his early childhood pictures. It's not clear if Noah at the time was simply imitating what he saw other people doing, or if he was actually already affiliated with gangs. But there were numerous street gangs operating in the area that Noah lived at the time of his death, and eventually he would allegedly become affiliated with a gang called the Whackers from the Lawncrest section of the city.
Whackers Pavement Boys.
EB, and are repped by rappers like No Pix and Rel Sosa. Noah was also seemingly close with gangs from the Frankfurt section of the city, particularly gangs called Parkside and Certified Clappers, or Double C. The biggest rivals of these gangs will be the gangs called M24 and their younger generation called Fast Break, who hail primarily from the Olney section of the city. The Fast Break have become well known in Philly drill culture recently after their members allegedly killed Philly's most well-known drill rapper, YBC Dull, in August 2024.
I heard about that.
Allegedly being as young as 14 years old, with Zakeem Blake, who
that's crazy.
His parents a year earlier, and 16-year-old Aiden Waters, who was
niggas don't play games no more.
Although he never featured on the cover of the ESPN magazine, as some pages would falsely report based on a custom cover likely made by his parents. Nor was he the national champion on the 1500 meters in 2015, although he did come up third place. With all this just going to show you that being a promising athlete isn't quite enough to stop a young man being sucked into the violent life of the Philly streets.
He getting buckets.
Growing up in an active war zone, Noah Scurry would be no stranger to gun violence growing up. In 2016, when Noah was only 9 years old, his cousin would be gunned down in the Mayfair neighborhood, located only about 3 miles east from Noah's home, where he would ultimately end up losing his life.
The search is on for the gunman who opened fire, taking the life of a 17-year-old boy. The triple shooting, which happened right across from a playground, also sent 2 other people to the hospital with critical injuries.
That surveillance video captured the 3 victims hanging outside of this corner store behind me at Hawthorne.
What she got going on?
Shortly before this shooting,
she looking hard.
Happened here down this alley, which does border Sterling Street. 17-year-old Quantico Brunson Moten was killed. 2 other young men remain in critical condition. Surveillance video shows Quantico Brunson Moten, the 2 other victims, and 2 more people standing outside the corner grocery store last night.
Chilling.
A white car pulled up, and a man dressed all in black got out and walked down Hawthorne. A little while later, the group followed in that direction. Police say it was here in this nearby alley that shots were fired. 17-year-old Quantico was shot in the torso, as was a 16-year-old victim. Back on the surveillance video, you can see the man run back to the idling white car outside the corner store. Quantico was killed. Today, his father washed away the blood left at the scene.
We kept our son close.
That's sad.
We kept his friends close. They call his mom and pop all day.
The store owner and friends identified this young man as Quantico. This is video of him inside the corner store just before the shooting that would claim his life. His parents said he excelled in sports and was well liked.
He was silly all the time. He was just silly all the time.
Things would begin to ramp up around 2020 as the COVID pandemic would bring a spree of violence all over America, including Philadelphia, where the already high murder rate would spike to the level of the 90s when the crack epidemic was intensifying the gang wars. In December,
okay, I'm about to give me some more water, cuz. Drink that bit too quick. My bad, I hit the shit and everything. Hopefully that bit still centered. Hey.
2020, Noah's good friend, 14-year-old Tahmir Timms, also known as Tata, was gunned down in Olney, less than 2 miles away from his home.
Well, deadly gun violence continues to rise in Philadelphia with more and more young lives cut short. Last night, a 14-year-old boy became the latest child killed. Action reporter Jacqueline Lee is live in the only section of the city tonight with more of the investigation into this deadly incident and the devastating statistics. Jacqueline.
Well, Rick, we cover so many shootings. Sometimes it's easy to forget to see the humanity in it. But this was a 14-year-old boy. This is someone's son.
Yeah, it's crazy. They be young, bro.
And anti-violence advocates are saying these killings are creating a culture of fear in the city. Family members describe 14-year-old Tahmir Timms as the legend.
He's literally a kid.
Star basketball and football player.
He was an outdoor fun kid, like the crack jokes. This was a regular kid, a regular 14-year-old child living his life. My son didn't deserve this.
That's why his mom, Regina, and other family members are puzzled as to why he was shot in the chest and back on the 5900 block of North Masher Street Thursday night. He later died at Albert Einstein Medical Center.
I see this every day. And it never really clicked until it happened to me. Cried all night, ain't been asleep really yet.
His brother says Timms was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't feel real.
Sadly, many families are facing this reality. The 6 ABC data journalism team found that shootings involving children are up 70% this year in Philadelphia.
70%.
Was a very talented basketball player who was also known by the nickname.
He can't even grow up no more.
His passing, Noah's father would post on his social media how Noah had changed his jersey number to 32 in Tahmir's honor, promising to always play in his memory. But shockingly, Noah's father, Ron Scurry, would make a post revealing that Noah had actually lost 5 friends in less than a year, showing just how out of control the gun violence in Philly had gotten at this point and how much it was personally affecting Noah. But unfortunately, that wouldn't be the end of it, because only a few months later, he would lose yet another friend, with his father posting how his son had lost 6 friends to violence and saying that he can see the hurt in his son's eyes. 16-year-old Kari Simmons, also known as Car or Ree, would be killed in a senseless triple shooting at a rec center in West Philadelphia that would also leave 2 15-year-olds injured.
Now a community remembers a teen gunned down last week. And Dave, this is another victim of this senseless violence that's plaguing our city.
I mean, I know the news be active, boy. They be having, like, a new report on somebody getting shot every other day.
And to hopefully start the healing process. Hundreds of balloons were released over this West Philadelphia rec center Tuesday evening to remember 16-year-old Kari Simmons, who was gunned down last week on this very same basketball court.
He was just here doing what all of us do. Come to Sherwood, play basketball, and just be kids.
Kyrie's senseless murder touched off calls for a citywide action plan after the death of yet another young man with so much promise.
We love Kyrie more than anything. That was my mommy's baby. That was her world. He was our little brother.
He did not deserve to die like that.
Police and Kyrie's family say he was an innocent victim, gunned down by 4 men who, for some unknown reason, opened fire into the playground.
Following Kyrie's
Dude, a playground is crazy.
How the police were warning that the violence in the city was being fueled by
a playground, bro.
Gangs were going back and forth dissing each other.
They don't even know. They don't even know like who could have been. They don't even know like if like a mother and child was out there, innocent, parents, kids. Like a playground crazy. Like I'm saying, niggas don't care no more.
Focusing on ways to prevent more violence, including monitoring Instagram, where police say shootings and murders are being fueled by hot-tempered Instagram posts between rival groups or individuals. Social media beefs turn violent.
Now,
he said beefs.
These groups have the ability to use Instagram and go back and forth in real time, and it's something that we're very concerned about.
Commissioner Daniel Outlaw says social media is fueling a lot of these conflicts, and they're now having detectives monitor those conversations. Life has turned.
They still gonna do it though. Even though they saying that they monitoring that shit, they still gonna do it.
With a following or with cameras in order to advertise your life or document every moment of what we're saying and what we're doing. Advocates and officials say parents can play a role in monitoring their teens' social media usage. Instagram shared tips for parents in a new guide released today. Pastor Carl
They got
Davis
released
talking
guys on
to
it.
teens can spark change.
A lot of times I think that we don't think about how polarizing social media is.
Instagram's restrict mode allows your teen to keep an eye on a potential bully. They can't tell they've been restricted, and posted comments aren't visible to anyone else but the person who wrote it.
Back in maybe our day, whatever our day may have been, you know, if you had a problem with somebody, it was just between you, them, and probably the few people that knew. Now you got 6,000 followers, so in everybody's mind, all 6,000 people see you trying to play me. So now this is the way we have to handle things.
Noah was also familiar with the other side, as his friends weren't only dying in the gang war, but also allegedly
Oh, yeah, funny.
only a few weeks after the murder of Kari, 18-year-old Justin Porter, also known as Jay or Five, would be gunned down in the Frankfurt neighborhood.
The violence continues in Frankfurt, where an 18-year-old was shot and killed. It happened around 5 this evening on the 4700 block of Oxford Avenue. No one has been arrested in this shooting either.
Justin,
Dang, the cops ain't get nobody.
Brady, who's affiliated with the Certified Clappers, and Parkside, would drop a diss song called Five on It, which references the classic song Got Five on It by Loonies, whilst also using that phrase to diss Five. This was followed by another Double C rapper called Hardy, dropping a song titled Red Rum, where he would diss Five more directly, saying that
He was dumb out here, little 5, and got a 9, and had a gun. Now he bumming. We did that. Fuck 12. Like Kendrick Nunn.
on the police after the murder. Another popular rapper from the M24 side, Lil Muck, can be seen wearing a custom tribute shirt to Five on his social media, and will release a response to the diss song called On Five, which is both a tribute song to Five and a diss towards Parkside and the Certified Clappers. In Muck's Instagram promo for the song's music video, other M24 members could be seen dissing Parkside, while Parkside members would seemingly taunt Muck about Five's death. One YouTuber would even claim that Five was killed by a specific person, a rapper from Parkside called Qua4, who's in fact a good friend of Noah Scurry, with even Noah's father posting a picture of the two together. However, the murder of Five, aka Justin Porter, would remain unsolved. Unfortunately, the killing in Philly would only get worse during 2021, reaching an all-time high.
Look at them statistics.
16-year-old Arjon Jackson, also
He
known as
ambushed
AJ,
him.
or A-Roy, would be brutally killed near his home after he had just finished his work shift at McDonald's, with his twin sister being taken home in a lift.
We began with a call to action after another teenager is shot and killed on the streets of Philadelphia. I'm Yuki Washington.
I'm Jessica Cartalia. 16-year-old Ajon AJ Jackson was shot outside of East Oak Lane home when police say he was ambushed. He and his twin sister had just finished their shift at McDonald's. Jasmine Payute is live at police headquarters with how gun violence is affecting principals trying to keep their students safe. Jasmine?
Yuki, Jess, good evening. It goes without saying, there's a gun violence crisis in Philadelphia.
Once again, Parkside rappers would diss the dead mercilessly, this time borrowing a chapter from YBC Bill's playbook, who had made a name for himself by dissing his dead.
That video was crazy.
After finishing his shift working up,
he got too much going on.
Music video for Hardy's song Red Rum. His friends can be seen
tossing out French got small McDonald's fries.
Also done. And in his song On Hound, Hardy would rap how M24 hadn't got back for someone who died whilst eating fries, before mentioning how they were leading by 2-0, an apparent reference to the murders of both Five and AJ. Hardy would even film
this is
himself
NBA 2K. They keeping score for real. Like, that shit crazy.
It's me and my man P. Your man did it. And you know who did that to your man. Shut up.
All on live with it.
Young boy, I slapped on the back of his head right now on live. You're not trying to lock in. Come on, let's lock in. Let's lock in. Your man about to be in here for an hour. We can lock in real quick. You said, boy, Wallah, he used it. And AJ did it. Watch out, bro. Y'all just see me smack that. Y'all just see me smack that.
Coming into 2022, the murder rate would fortunately begin declining, but that would be a small consolation to the people living in the city's war zones, where murders would continue to happen at a steady rate. And in August, it was time for Noah Scurry to experience
pregnant woman wondering then, man.
18-year-old
Pregnant woman
killed during a particularly violent night in Philly.
Just this morning, Philadelphia police are looking for up to half a dozen shooters in cases that began yesterday afternoon, carried through in the overnight hours, and there has been shooting as of just a few hours ago. Take a look at this video. This is from a deadly shooting on Bouvier Street. There were over 40 shell casings on the ground here. Officers say someone shot 2 people at this scene. One of them did die. The other is listed in critical condition this morning. And then in broad daylight yesterday, around 5 o'clock, right near this Dunkin' Donuts on Girard Avenue, 3 men were shot. One, a 65-year-old whose sister says he was driving by the scene in his pickup truck when a stray bullet from the shooting went through the windshield into his arm.
Damn.
Was known as an outgoing person with a real big heart who did anything for the ones that he loved. But allegedly, he was also known as a feared shooter in the streets who went by the menacing nickname Bad News. By this point, Noah Scurry had lost as many as 7 close friends to the streets, and as his father said, he could see the pain and suffering in his son from these losses. Perhaps unsurprisingly then, from here, Noah would begin to undergo a dark transformation, vowing to get revenge for his friends and beginning his own
Turn
plots
into a demon.
cause others the very same devastation.
So that's what made him like jump into the streets. His mans were getting killed. I mean, I don't know. I think any other nigga be like, man, that made me want to leave the streets alone. Like, they got it. But niggas different.
Casting a dark shadow on the kids living there. Kids with lives, dreams, and their whole futures ahead.
Especially honor roll student. That's crazy.
Their last day, and witnessing so many of your friends lose their young lives before they ever even started would turn even the cleanest of hearts cold. These murders ignited something dark in the minds of the youth of Philly. Kids, not even old enough to buy a beer, would be going through unbearable pain. What could their parents possibly even understand of what these kids were going through? Kids pushed to their limits, fragile minds that hadn't even developed yet, undergoing trauma, only comparable to shell-shocked soldiers fresh out of a war zone.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit will fuck you up. Like imagine like your friends who you grew up with to my first grade type shit. Then all of them just start getting killed, and you just like, damn, cuz. I can see why he would want to do it. I don't know. It's crazy. I can understand. But I don't know. I gotta watch more of it. That would make a nigga be like, damn. I gotta start doing something.
In the name of survival or revenge, felt the need to transform into something else, something terrifying, a new identity that would give them back control and save them from the danger by becoming the danger themselves. This is how the Joker persona was born. 2023 would end up being a pivotal year for Noah Scurry. In May, he would visit the Girard College, which provides college preparatory courses, likely meaning that Noah and his family were preparing for the next step on his educational journey, aiming to get him a scholarship to a university. However, later that month, there would be yet another mass shooting in the Frankfurt section, which would end up killing a 66-year-old man and injuring 3 teenagers.
Police say someone shot 3 15-year-old boys on Mulberry Street in Frankfurt. This happened late Sunday night. They went to the hospital and are expected to be okay. Police also found a 66-year-old man dead at the scene. He had been shot in the head.
As the local media would later report, one of these teenagers would allegedly turn out to be Noah Scurry himself. 2 days later, it would be Noah's 16th birthday, and his father would post a heartfelt message to him, where he wouldn't mention anything out of the ordinary, but he would allude to something dramatic just having taken place, mentioning how many adversities his son had faced. It's possible that this shooting that injured him personally was the final straw that broke Noah, because only a few months later, he would allegedly commit, perhaps, his first murder. On the 20th of July, 25-year-old Devin Spady was hanging out with his friends on the 5800 block of Masher Street in the Olney section of Philadelphia. Spady was better known in the streets of Philly by his rapper name, Young Cheese, or YNG Cheese, making up one half of the rap duo, Mac and Cheese, that he had formed with his brother Mac. The duo had achieved a minor buzz in the Philly rap scene, which was further boosted by the fact that they were both sons of the podcast phenomenon Gilly the King, formerly known as Philly rap legend Gilly the Kid, now famous for running the highly popular podcast $1 Million Worth of Game, together with his cousin Wallow. But on this tragic night, Cheese and some friends were standing on the corner of West Nitro Avenue and North Masher Street just before 8:30 p.m. when they would suddenly hear gunshots and begin running from the scene. Unfortunately, Cheese would be hit in the back, causing him to collapse on the street. He was later pronounced dead at the Einstein Medical Center, while 2 other victims would also suffer gunshot wounds but survive.
This happened last night, just about 8:30, in the section of Olney, on the corner of Masher and Nidra Street, I should say. Just before 8:30, several calls came in. Police arrived to find 2 victims about a block away suffering from gunshot wounds. Investigators tell us a 25-year-old man was shot in the back, rushed to Einstein Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. The second victim, a 28-year-old man, found shot in the leg, as well as a 31-year-old man also shot in the leg. So 3 men, 3 victims here, and this is what Chief Inspector Scott Small had to say.
Now we know the shooting took place at Masher and Nidro. That's where we found 10 spent shell casings. So we know 10 shots were fired from a semi-automatic weapon. and that's where all three of these victims were struck.
Police say Devin Spady, better known as Young Cheese, was one of 3 people shot in the 5800 block of Master Street in Olney Thursday night. Shot in the back, the 25-year-old rapper was a rising star and the son of one of Philadelphia's biggest stars, Gilly the King. He uses his platform to speak out against violence, and now violence has claimed the life of his son.
For him to be a victim to the same violence that he's advocating against, that's just heartbreaking.
Gilly the King is
Yeah,
a
he
rapper
is
turned
fucked up.
podcaster turned philanthropist. He and his $1 million worth of game podcast partner Wallow also helped give away millions of dollars to support local businesses, and both
That's
were
what's
awarded
up.
the key to the city.
Gilly and Wallow.
No, that's right.
The unofficial mayors of the city of Philadelphia. How about that? Right? They are the voice of the youth.
Soon after, the news about Cheese's passing would reach the people close to him, and Wallow would post a heartfelt message to Cheese's father Gilly on Instagram, telling him how he was going to look after Gilly on behalf of Cheese. Later, on an episode of $1 Million Worth of Game, Wallow would actually open up about having to personally tell Gilly the tragic news of his son's passing.
So one of the hardest things I ever had to do was tell Kez that Cheese ain't gonna be here no more. I said, Cheese got shot. No, I'm not thinking about it. I never forget I was in the bathroom. Gil knocked on the door and Gil, man, his head was down like, man, Cheese got. I said, what? I told him what happened. He said, no, I'm gonna check into it right now and see what's going on. Boom, boom, boom. Once I hang up, he called me back and said, don't put Gil on the phone no more. I said, all right, so we driving. He tell me on the phone, he's like, yeah, man. He gone. I said, damn. So I put my face down and I go to walk out of the hospital because we in emergency. Gil see me. I said, damn. Because I'm like, I'm going to leave and they going to have to tell him in the hospital because so I walk out, Gil come out.
That shit like real fucked up. Like I'm a parent. I got a daughter, and I've lost a son, to early birth. That shit fucked up. I don't know, pain of losing children, like we the parents and we look and our kids not before us. That shit fucked up. It's just fucked up.
Cuz, what's up, cuz? What's going on? What's up? Cause he beat me, put my head down. That was the worst thing I ever told anybody. And I was like, man, jeez, boom. I've never seen him like that. So it was like, in some type of way, I felt up because it was like, I had to tell him the worst ever. So I felt some type of way, like it wasn't that I was responsible, but the fact that I told him that's the worst ever. So when I told him that, I had to walk away and he was talking to me, telling me, so Gil just walked away, he was just up. And so I was so hurt because it was like, damn, man, I told him the worst in the world. And I did it day after day, try to make a better situation, but it was like, Cheese wasn't coming back. And it was like, I had to stay away from it. Was hard for me to face Cuz for a while. So I would keep my distance and be like, it's up. Cuz I appreciate you for that too.
With Gilly later opening up about the experience on the Pivot podcast.
Shit fucked up. Shit had my right out watering.
Going through all that I've went through in my life, bro, that make you forward tough, man. That it really make you forward tough. So, what's done is done. And like you said, Cheese not coming back. That's the one thing that's a fact. So, for me to wake up every day and allow my family to see me in an emotional state where I'm not strong, that's not strong. You know what I mean? I'm only really weak around my woman and my friends. You know what I mean? Other than that, I gotta stay strong for my kids, man.
The local news would cover Cheese's funeral, held less than a week after his death, and highlight the need to stop the violence plaguing the city of Philadelphia.
Cause it's really going through it.
There were no suspects in the case.
That shit hurt different.
laying his oldest son, Devin Spady, to rest
Or
on
they like,
Monday. Spady,
I'm not
who
gonna even
rapped
say
under the
it,
name
try to
Young
say it.
Cheese, was
I
killed in a shooting
don't
at the corner of
want to
Masher
disrespect
and
no
Nitro
religions.
last Thursday night. Family friends say the loss hurts even more, knowing Gilly has long pushed people to choose a different path.
He always promoted a positive image and always talked about putting the guns down. So it's unfortunately that his son had to meet his demise this way.
Imam Tahir Wyatt made a point to address gun violence in his speech. He called on people at Monday's service to think before they act and to help those in need.
All of us know somebody. All of us know people who are this far away from revenge, from an endless cycle. But we have to be the ones to step up and be courageous.
Many family friends we spoke with believe losing a son to gun violence will motivate Gilly even more to stay active in his fight. But they also know he can't do it alone and say the community has to step up and take action.
We have to stop. We have to make a concerted effort to come together to find solutions to the craziness that is plaguing our city.
Gilly the King did not speak publicly at today's services. Philadelphia police say so far no arrests have been made in Spady's death and that this is an ongoing investigation.
Unfortunately, though, not everyone was so thoughtful regarding this tragic
Damn.
news. One of hip-hop's most controversial and offensive
Look at this
figures,
cockeyed nigga, bro.
Cheese, to clap back at Gilly, who had previously labelled him as a snitch, posting some truly
Here we
violent
go.
demonic messages where he would make fun of Gilly's grief and even accuse him of getting his son killed as a sacrifice to the Illuminati.
Dead son, you talking about snitching. Pow! Got your son in the head, boy, unalive. Pow! God damn it, y'all get him been shot. I remember how you and Wallow were crying. You and Wallow were crying. Oh, my son. Oh, my son got killed.
You know, I usually rock with Cuz because he's funny, but nigga, that nigga ODing right now. This ain't even the time and place for all that little Cuz nigga call you a snitch. This type of shit niggas get bags put on their head for like, yeah, that nigga gotta go. He wildin'.
Man, you talking about snitching. You goddamn right I'm a law-abiding citizen. That's why your son unalive. Ain't nobody been in the ain't been no get back. The who killed your boy still living, breathing, and calm and farting, sneezing, coughing.
Put niggas out of there. What's that coming?
You still in agony. Unless you made the sacrifice. Unless you did the sacrifice. You hear me? Unless you the one put the hit on your
Isn't gang locked up right now? Okay, he was locked up.
I ain't sacrificing my boy for no $100 million. I don't want that much money, no way. I don't want that much goddamn money, no way, Gilly and Wallow, where we gotta kill nephew and son. I don't know who idea was it for you to sacrifice your son. You should have sacrificed the and kept the boy. And kept the boy. You should have sacrificed the and kept your son, but because you want to be an Illuminati.
Some months later, in October 2023, Noah would make one of his first appearances under his Joker alter ego in the music video for his friend Qua4, a song called Fallen Angels, a song dedicated to all of their friends killed in the Philly gang wars. Noah would be included in the video wearing his signature Joker mask and holding up a gun, surrounded by other strap-toting Philly gangsters. But when Noah wasn't allegedly running around killing people in his Joker mask, he would still be keeping up appearances in school, where his basketball team would tell the fans that he was a player to watch out for and that he was going to have a big junior season. Unfortunately though, only a few months later, Noah would allegedly strike again in the streets. On the 4th of March, around 3:45 p.m., 17-year-old Damon Taylor, also known as Fat Dame, had just gotten out of school day at Imhotep Charter High School. He was waiting to get on a bus with about 15 other students at the intersection of Ogons and Godfrey Avenues when two assailants would walk up to the bus stop and open fire. 5 people were hit with bullets, including 3 students who were standing outside at the bus stop, along with 2 older women who were sitting inside the bus. However, despite the high number of casualties, the attack appeared to be targeted towards Damon, who would be hit the worst. This was a gruesome hit, and his injuries would be brutal to say the least. A video would later be posted online showing panicked students at the scene, with one girl being heard saying, "His face is gone," when referring to Damon's injuries.
Damn, whose shoe? Is that his shoe?
Damon was taken to Einstein Medical Center,
His
where
face
he would
gone.
unfortunately pass away from his injuries.
What? That shit crazy. His face gone.
this afternoon on board a SEPTA bus. It happened just before 4 o'clock today. That bus coming to a stop right there at 16th and Limekiln and Ogons. Just minutes ago, Philadelphia police gave us an update, revealing that a 17-year-old is dead, the apparent target in this, and 4 other people were shot. 2 more teens and 2 women, 50 and 70 years old. This, a live look at that scene right now. Those 2 women were sitting on the bus at the time. Action News reporter Katie Capcho live there where it all ended this afternoon. Katie, police say video shows 2 gunmen here.
That's exactly right, Brian. And where I'm standing is where police say around 15 to 20 people were waiting for that SEPTA bus when those shots were fired. I'm going to step out of the shot here so you can see what's behind me. As you can see, police have marked off multiple spots where they did find multiple shell casings. Now, there are multiple scenes to this shooting, and I do want to show you what another scene looks like here on the 6,000 block of Limekiln Pike. You can see that SEPTA bus, and it has multiple bullet shots through those windows. Now, there are multiple victims here, and I do want to show you a list of all of the victims. Police say a 17-year-old was killed. A 17-year-old suffered a graze wound to the shoulder. A 50-year-old was on the SEPTA bus. She was shot in the arm. A 70-year-old woman was on the bus. She was shot in the head. Police say both of those women were bystanders. Police also say a 15-year-old suffered a graze wound to the back. Now, everyone is over at Einstein Medical Center recovering at this time.
Philly's infamous district attorney, Larry Krasner, would later be moved to tears when discussing the incident during a press briefing, promising that everyone involved would be arrested and prosecuted.
Juvenile who has now lost his life. We have a 70-year-old woman. Excuse me. We have a 70-year-old woman with a grocery cart on a bus.
That's what I'm saying, like,
Who was struck in the head with a bullet.
you know, just the bystanders is crazy. A 70-year-old woman.
Those responsible will be vigorously prosecuted.
Despite Krasner's promises, this murder remains unsolved to this day. But
Damn.
meanwhile, people close to Damon seemingly had their suspicions, as Damon, aka Fat Dame, was allegedly associated with the Fast Break gang, who were known to beef with Noah's Whackers gang, aka the Pavement Boys. And only 2 days after Fat Dame's murder, there would be another mass shooting, this time at a bus stop located near the Northeast High School, which on the other hand is located about 2 miles away from Noah's Samuel Fells High School and partly serviced by the same bus lines. At around 3 p.m., students were waiting to get on a bus near the intersection of Rising Sun and Cotman Avenues when 3 masked assailants who had been waiting nearby in a blue Hyundai Sonata would step out and open fire, hitting 8 teens and wounding one of them.
They running
critically,
down.
while a fourth suspect, a getaway driver, would wait in the car.
Tonight, Philadelphia police are urging the public take a closer look at this shocking surveillance video. Investigators say it shows the chilling moments 3 armed suspects exit a stolen car, run up to a busy bus stop frequented by high school students, and indiscriminately fire more than 30 shots into the crowd.
Into the crowd.
Teens between the ages of 15 and 17 were wounded. One of those teens now fighting for his life.
These are individuals shooting at a crowd of kids. That's really concerning. So we need people to see that.
This shooting, the 4th involving the city's transit system, SEPTA, and the 2nd involving minors.
When they shoot money to dang. I almost had one for each day of the week.
But for the family and friends of 17-year-old Damian Taylor, it's too little too late. The teen was shot and killed on Monday as he waited for the bus. Several others were also wounded. As the investigation into this latest shooting continues, authorities are urging parents to get involved before another young life is claimed by gun violence.
Go in those rooms and look under those tables and look under those closets and get those guns out of the house. Because at the end of the day, many of these kids are coming from the same communities that they're shooting in, right? And they know who they are.
Unlike the shooting that took the life of Fat Dame, this one would unravel almost immediately, and less than 1 week later, the police would arrest 2 18-year-olds, Jamal Tucker and Arniel Buggs, in connection to the shooting.
This is video from the moment 18
They had this nigga walking, bruh. They got this nigga to chain. Boy, dang. They brought out the big niggas. Armored up.
Philadelphia police, the mayor, and other leaders met today to announce their arrests. Both are now charged with the shooting that injured 8 Northeast High School students who were waiting for the bus.
Crazy.
7 boys and 1 girl, all between the ages of 15 and 17, were hit.
To our young people who were impacted, to know that we're making progress. We will not tolerate this type of violence on our streets or in our schools or near our schools.
Police say they developed suspects after recovering the stolen getaway car seen here in surveillance video. Bugs was also taken into custody with the gun that matched shell casings found at the scene. Police say the gun was a fully loaded and fully automatic pistol with a laser.
Young people who are trying to put it together, they deserve better, and they deserve to know that the city of Philadelphia is taking seriously what occurred.
At the news conference today, Mayor Sherelle Parker speaking on the bloodshed of the youth and the plans in the near future to implement a public safety plan for the city. Moving forward, it's an all-hands-on-deck approach as authorities continue to look for 2 more suspects.
The local news would also report, based on the court records, that the police were investigating the shooting's connection to the one that killed Fat Dame. This paperwork also revealing just how sloppy these youngsters had been, not only during the shooting, where they had seemingly aimed eyes closed into a group of innocent kids, but also during the getaway.
The NBC 10 investigators obtained court documents that detail how police narrowed in on Tucker and Bugs. The documents explain how the same stolen blue car used in the shooting was found later that evening on the 400 block of Fern Street in Albany. Detectives pulled surveillance from that immediate area, and according to the affidavit of probable cause charging Bugs, surveillance video shows 4 men exiting the vehicle 14 minutes after the shooting. The men then entered a home on that same block. From that address, police identified Jamal Tucker as a suspect. Detectives worked with the FBI to pull cell phone data from the cell towers that service the shooting location and where the car was stolen and found. Court records show that investigators determined that cell phones associated with Tucker and Bugs traveled, quote, in concert to the Sunrise Avenue shooting location and the 400 block of Fern Street where the stolen car was recovered. Police won't say for certain if Wednesday's shooting was a retaliation for Monday's other SEPTA shooting. That one resulted in a 17-year-old killed and 4 others injured. But the affidavit charging Bugs details a prison phone call Bugs received the day after the shooting from his uncle, Dontaz McMillan.
That's hard.
The inmate asked the other male on the line, quote, "I heard about your man, you good?" And the younger male states, "Nah," with McMillan responding, "Yeah, it's never easy to digest," end quote. The document goes on to say that based on the context of this phone call, it is believed that the 2 individuals on this call are discussing the homicide at 6200 Ogons Avenue. That homicide occurred on March 4th. Bugs and Tucker were arraigned Sunday morning.
Arnell Bugs would also be charged with a February 2024 murder of a 20-year-old named Christopher Dowling, also known in the streets as Chris, together with 2 other teens, none other than Aidan Waters, the Fast Break member first arrested in relation to the murder of YBC Dull, as well as a man named Ryan Purcell, better known in Philly as the Fast Break-affiliated rapper LR, or Lil Ryan. The following day, a 3rd suspect was arrested, 19-year-old Joe.
That nigga like he's seen some shit.
A rapper by the name of Mardo, and also allegedly affiliated with the Fast Break gang.
Well, here we are on one of the main roads through Philadelphia at one of the main intersections. Academy, just about 5 doors off of Woodhaven Road, and there's a 2-apartment row house here, and there you see it, 12024 Academy Road. This is where Jermod Carter's father lives, and he said he answered the door to machine guns after 4 o'clock as police came looking for their son. Sources tell me the whole family was out in the backyard enjoying a nice day at the time, and so when they were knocking at the door, no one was answering it first, and then the father did answer the door. Here is video now of Jermod Carter being taken into custody by marshals and the task force that also includes a whole lot of Philadelphia police detectives who've been looking for him for nearly a week since the Wednesday shooting. So this makes 3 of the 4 they wanted. You remember 3 shooters and a 4th getaway driver. They wanted to get all 4. So the father told me Jermod Carter just turned 18. Authorities who took him into custody say he is 19 with a birth date listed for this October 1st, born in 04, which would make him nearly 20 years old come October. Here is some of what his father had told me earlier after the arrest. What can you tell me happened with your son?
I don't know. I just came to the door and 2 machine guns.
You came to the door and they had machine guns in your face? What did they say to you?
They just brought me outside.
The 4th suspect, 17-year-old Asir Boone, would also be identified after he failed to turn himself in, with the Philly police offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to his arrest.
First harmed,
Dangerous and on the run. U.S. Marshals released a photo and the name of the fourth and final suspect in last week's SEPTA bus stop shooting.
3 suspects are now in custody, and tonight, U.S. Marshals are searching for the final suspect.
There is now an all-out search for Asir Boone. This afternoon, the U.S. Marshals Service released this photo of the 17-year-old. They say he frequents Olney, but his last known address is in Germantown. Agents are also offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to his capture. If you come across Boone, do not approach him because he is
They got the states.
and dangerous.
And about a week later, he would also be found hiding in the city of Alexandria, Virginia, near Washington, D.C.
20 minutes of nonstop news begins with breaking news. Another suspect captured.
They got that nigga.
Pictures of the U.S. Marshals taking that suspect into custody. He's the 4th teenager arrested for the shooting that injured 8
That nigga's always in Washington, D.C. They got that nigga. How they got that nigga? Oh, I'll be back. I gotta use the bathroom, cuz. I use the bathroom, cuz. Let me see. Act like I never left out that day.
Himself to turn himself in, and when that didn't happen and they missed the deadline, authorities say they amped up the pressure. That ultimately led to this arrest today.
Tough.
The boy's name is Asir Boone, 17 years old. The U.S. Marshals took these pictures of his arrest today.
Yeah, got dreads and everything.
There was a warrant out for him that included attempted murder. Boone is the 4th and final suspect wanted in connection to the March 6 shooting of 8 Northeast High School students. Police say we're waiting for the bus at Cotman and Rising Sun Avenue.
The police weren't done. They would also arrest a 5th suspect, 15-year-old Jeremiah Jefferson, who they claimed helped the 4 main assailants carry out the mass shooting.
Police made a 5th arrest in that mass shooting at a SEPTA station that injured 8 Northeast High School students in Burhall. Police say the 15-year-old suspect helped point out the victims to the gunman. Meanwhile, authorities say the suspects may be linked to even more crimes in the city.
And the communication went back and forth. He even says at one point, I'm wearing this type of clothing, don't cook me. And then at the point where they were leaving the Dunkin' Donuts to walk to the bus stop, he types the word go.
Out of the 5 suspects, 18-year-old Jamal Tucker, known in the streets as Mally from the Fast Break gang, had been the first to turn himself in, which would immediately prompt accusations that he was snitching.
I was about to say.
The first person to accept a plea deal with prosecutors, prompting even more rumors that he was indeed cooperating with the police against his father.
Nigga was all the way in Washington, D.C. Cause how did they find a nigga? I don't know.
That injured 8 students at a bus stop in Northeast Philadelphia.
Now niggas folding. See?
Tucker pled guilty to several charges
Yeah, hell no when they see them football numbers.
He's one of 5 people charged in that shooting. You might remember happened back in March. 8 students from Northeast High School were shot at the intersection of Cotman and Rising Sun Avenues. A judge will sentence Tucker in October.
Meanwhile, already a few months after the shooting that killed Fat Dame, there would be yet another young victim whose murder has been connected to Noah in many online rumors. In May, the 16-year-old Tayshaun Williams, also known as Tay, was gunned down by 3 masked assailants who pulled up on him in a car when he was riding his bike near his home in the West Poplar neighborhood.
A grieving mother is pleading for the public's help finding her 16-year-old son's killer. It was last May when someone shot and killed Tayshaun Williams in Philadelphia's West Poplar neighborhood. Rick Williams has details in tonight's Crime Fighters Report.
Tyra Williams needs a lung transplant. She relied on her 16-year-old son, Tayshaun, for his support and help around the house.
Mom, I gotta go to school. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. You know, he was such a blessing to me.
On Saturday, May 25th, Tyra sent Tayshaun on an errand for her.
I sent him to the store for me to get some water, and he came back.
That night, he said he was going out.
He left out. It was like 8 something. He went around the corner to go where he usually be at, around the corner with his friends. Next thing you know, I get a call.
At 8:38 p.m., police were called for reports of a person with a gun along the 1200 block of Fairmount Avenue in Philadelphia's West Poplar neighborhood. Police say Tayshaun was riding his bike when a car pulled up and 3 masked people got out and began opening fire. Tayshaun was hit multiple times. He was taken to the hospital, where he died a few hours later.
The area where Tay lived is known for the Richard Allen Homes, a public housing project, with the gang hailing from the area also going by Richard Allen, or RA. While there's also numerous smaller sets in this area that go by names like 103, YSF, or Gunner Gang, RA has been known to have a beef with a gang called Zoo Gang, whose members also rep a set known as Omerta, that hail from the Strawberry Mansion section. Omerta
Strawberry Mansion
have been hit with several federal indictments in recent years regarding numerous major robberies and other crimes.
Federal indictment.
The assailants stole hundreds of thousands of dimes from a trailer that was waiting to transport the money to Florida.
Thousands of dimes scattered and shimmering in a parking lot of Philadelphia Mills Mall. They spilled out of a parked trailer when thieves broke in.
They were trying to cross-load the dimes into other things to carry it away. There's dimes all over the parking lot.
The cargo, $750,000 worth of dimes, was loaded up at the Philadelphia Mint yesterday. Police say the truck driver parked here overnight, went home and got some sleep before a long day of driving to Florida. But when he returned in the morning, he found someone had broken into the trailer using bolt cutters and stolen hundreds of thousands of dimes.
These indictments have broken down how the Omerta and Zoo gangs work together to commit these crimes, but also mentioning that these gangs had connections with other gangs in Philadelphia, with one of these allegedly being Noah's gang, the Whackers, aka Pavement Boys, as Noah would eventually drop a song under his Joker alias, together with another rapper called Drench Season, who's allegedly affiliated with Zoo Gang. Because of this connection between Zoo Gang and Noah's gang, and because of Tay's apparent connection to Fast Break, affiliated with members like Fat Dame, Noah has seemingly been connected to the murder of Tay in many online rumors, although others have denied this, and there's seemingly very little actual evidence to tie him to the murder. This would become somewhat of a pattern with regards to Noah's supposed victims, as there have been many bodies that people have tried to put on him with little to no evidence, such as 2 other teens that would be killed already in the following month of June.
Unsubstantiated sources, he is linked to the death of Izzy Stanley and the 18-year-old 10 Millie, who both died in June of 2024, a week apart. Now, I'm not trying to go around putting murders on people, so please take all of this with a grain of salt.
However, at least in the case of Izzy Stanley, a 17-year-old girl who was killed when a shootout started at a party in Fairmount Park, one arrest has seemingly been made, but there's still seemingly nothing tying Noah to this incident. In May 2024, Noah would make another appearance in the music video for Qua 4's song Drill After Drill, but this time he would appear without his Joker mask, simply wearing a black COVID mask to hide his identity, all while toting a gun and flexing big stacks of cash. Interestingly, around the time of the video's release, Noah's father would also post several photos taken at the video shoot to his social media that showed Noah throwing up gang signs. By this point, Noah was truly living a double life, allegedly masking up and killing people by night, but continuing to excel in school and sports by day. On the 10th of December 2024, Noah was selected as his high school team's best player in their game against Plymouth Whitemarsh High School. He was all over the team's social media at this time, clearly delivering good results on the court.
That's crazy.
About a month later, when Noah's high school was playing against one of their main rivals, the Imhotep Charter High School, Noah was reportedly not participating, which would explain why his team would take a major loss. Moreover, only friends and family were allowed to attend the game, which was rumored to have been the result of a rough encounter between these 2 teams at an earlier summer league game, where players from the Imhotep team had attempted to attack Noah due to knowing about his alleged involvement in the murder of Fat Dame, who had been a very loved student at that school. Part of the reason could have also been the fact that before this game, Noah had posted one of the first snippets of music to his Instagram, a song that included several disses towards Fat Dame, like Noah referencing the infamous video from the aftermath of the murder, where a girl can be saying how his face is gone. He would also make reference to the murder of Chris, aka Christopher Dowling, who was allegedly killed by Fast Break members, saying how his ops can't talk about Chris without mentioning how Fat Dame's soul left his body. Then, on the 13th of January, Noah would release his first full song and music video under his rap alias Joker OTV, the chilling song Swing My Door. The music video starts with the rapper Drench Season opening a fridge full of guns and handing one to Noah whilst wearing his infamous Joker mask. The duo, together with other masked teens, would then display their heavy artillery and guns equipped with switches to make them fire automatically. Drench Season then starts the song with lyrics
with cheese and
of
shit.
the dark world that these youngsters are inhabiting, saying how he's thirsty to swing that door, referring to the act of quickly opening a car door when spotting an enemy in order to run up and kill them from close distance, before saying that he already has 4 Bs, or bodies up, suggesting that there's 4 victims that he's already killed by this point. He then describes how he started the lifestyle of killing people and popping pills at the ripe age of 15, claiming this turned him into a goblin, which appeared to be something he was truly proud of. After Drench Season's verse, Noah, aka the Joker, would step in, delivering equally disturbing lyrics where he raps how one hand is not enough to count all of his victims, implying that he had already killed over 5 people at this point. He would aim disses towards specific rivals, like somebody he called Scoom, with some fans suggesting that this was another name for Fat Dame, as well as another guy called Quaddy, real name Quadir Diaz, who was found dead in a creek, together with his friend, under mysterious circumstances in April 2024. This song was undoubtedly disrespectful, and this is really when Noah painted an even bigger target on his back. Not only was he killing his enemies in the streets, but now he was proudly rapping about it. And despite hiding behind the menacing mask, those in the streets knew exactly who was responsible for these murders, and they wanted revenge too. And unfortunately for Noah, just as he had begun his rap career using his menacing mask and moniker as the Joker, there would be other ruthless masked shooters looking for him in the streets, with little care for who got in the way or witnessed the revenge that they were about to take upon him.
Damn, boy. The murder of the Philly Joker. He making this shit look so ominous.
Good morning, Philadelphia. This just
Well, he put a lot of effort into the video, but it really got me locked in.
that are taking place over the past week. People are being asked to stay vigilant and stay safe.
In the streets, there are no heroes or villains, only actions and reactions. The gang life is sadly a dead end, and no matter how fearsome you are, no matter how many people you've killed, it only takes the squeezing of a trigger to end your story too. Noah Scurry, aka the Philly Joker, had become a formidable force in the Philly streets in just a matter of months. The pain that he felt from losing so many of his teenage friends to the gun was barely eased by all the killings that he himself had done. Perhaps he was too young and naive to think that he would suffer the same consequences too, but the reality was that those people that he had hurt, just like he had been hurt himself, wanted their own revenge, and hiding behind his mask, his family, or his facade as a straight-A student athlete would ultimately not be enough to save his life. And in the end, like those friends or enemies of his that lost their lives so young, his life too would be cut short in the most poetically tragic way. On the 14th of January 2025, Noah Scurry would wake up early to head to the Samuel Fells High School, exiting his family's house located on Rohrer Street near Roosevelt Boulevard around 7:15 a.m. But as Noah stepped outside to the back alley of his family's row home, ready to get into a car with his mother, who was supposed to drive him to school, unknown assailants were ready and waiting for him. They would immediately jump out from a white Jeep SUV and begin shooting at Noah, hitting him numerous times before fleeing the scene in their car. And of course, as tends to happen too often these days, someone would immediately begin filming the aftermath, showing Noah's mother, distraught, hugging her son's lifeless body, covered in blood and bullet holes. Soon after, the police and medics would arrive to the scene, and Noah would be taken to the Einstein Medical Center, where he was unfortunately pronounced dead only minutes later, having suffered several gunshot wounds to his chest and abdomen. The local media would jump on the story almost immediately, highlighting Noah's status as a star athlete and an exceptional student, at this point completely unaware of his murderous alter ego.
A teenager was shot and killed steps from his home. This is the 5,000 block of Rohrer Street, about 8 this morning, and we're learning the 17-year-old was on his way to school. The teenager was with his mother at the time. And Kelly, what else are you learning from this tragedy?
But Jason, police and school officials are identifying the 17-year-old tonight as Noah Scurry. He's described here at the high school as a great student and athlete. His family, understandably, was not ready to talk today. Police say they do believe he was targeted, but have not said why. Sophomore Muhammad Al-Faqi leaves the solemn day of school at Samuel Fells High School. All after-school activities canceled today and men's basketball games canceled this week due to the killing of a teammate and senior, identified by police and district officials as 17-year-old Noah Scurry. Police say it all happened in an alleyway behind Rohrer Street, just off Roosevelt Boulevard, around 7 this morning. At least 20 shots
I would thought could, but not have been at his parents' house. I mean, she was staying somewhere completely like out where niggas ain't even aware. If you're gonna be out here killing and sliding.
The student who was killed was exceptional. No problems from him whatsoever, according to the principal and other staff members. As you might imagine, they are distraught.
The following day, the story would receive a major update as the police would recover the assailant's getaway car, and the news would also show security camera footage of the vehicle at the murder scene. The police would also give out information that Noah had indeed been shot before his murder during the May 2023 incident that took the life of an older man.
Breaking right now, chilling video just obtained by CBS News Philadelphia showing the exact moment a gunman ambushes a local teenager on his way to school right in front of his frantic mother.
Good afternoon, Seattle. Police are one step closer into figuring out who is responsible. They say they believe they found a vehicle that may be connected to the shooting. Police say the 17-year-old Fells High School senior was shot multiple times as he was getting into a car on his way to school with his mom. Investigators say he was rushed to Albert Einstein Medical Center, where he later died. The video also shows a white Jeep Grand Cherokee take off from the alley behind the teen's home on Rohrer Street early Tuesday morning, right after the shooting. Police say they located the Jeep that matches the description of the car they were looking for in Northeast Philadelphia. Chopper 3 captured it in a policed impound lot. And now CBS News Philadelphia has learned that Scurry has been shot before. Sources tell us back in May of 2023, he was one of 3 15-year-olds shot on Mulberry Street in Frankfurt. A 66-year-old was killed. That crime is unsolved.
At this point, Noah's murder seemed completely incomprehensible to most. After all, if star athletes and students like Noah can become the victims of gun violence, then nobody is safe. But meanwhile, the undefeated online detectives were uncovering the dark side of Noah's past. First, posts connecting him to the Joker OTV alias would appear already on the day of his murder. Some of these would even show old clips of Noah beating up his enemies. And soon, the mainstream media too would be forced to change the narrative, backtracking on the angle they'd taken in earlier reporting to cover this new, shocking twist in the story.
New tonight, law enforcement sources confirmed there is a rap video uploaded to social media the day before 17-year-old Noah Scurry was shot to death behind his home in front of his mother, who was getting ready to take him to Samuel Fells High School. A screenshot of the video shows a man in a Joker mask, at times appearing to hold a gun. Sources tell Fox 29 they believe that to be Scurry. In the video, he dances along other individuals who are also holding and showing off guns throughout it.
The storyline would completely change once the duality of Noah's life was exposed as both a star athlete who excelled in school, whilst also being a bloodthirsty, mask-wearing drill rapper and somebody who had been killed less than 24 hours after officially dropping his
That's crazy.
his ops. All of this made the story go viral, with seemingly every hip-hop news outlet and YouTuber suddenly covering the story. Most notably, Philly-based YouTuber American Confidential would post an incredibly detailed and well-researched full breakdown about Noah's life and death only 5 days after his murder. The video would interestingly point out how the news got the narrative completely wrong about Noah when they initially reported on him in the context of his excellent academic record.
Family members, friends, and classmates were devastated by the sudden and senseless loss. A GoFundMe campaign launched by his cousin seeks to help cover funeral expenses. In her heartfelt message, she described Noah as a bright, loving young man with a heart full of kindness. Noah, only 17 years old, had such a caring and loving heart, wrote. He would do anything for his family, but most of all, for his siblings. Tributes and condolences have poured in across social media, where friends expressed their grief and shared memories of the teen. Speechless, I love you, one friend posted alongside photos of Noah Scurry. If people like myself and THF Philly weren't around, this would have been the end of the story. By the day of Noah's death, as is all too clear by now, 17-year-old star student athletes aren't just executed in front of their moms for no reason. There's always a story behind it that the news is reluctant to give for political or social reasons. If you just got your news from the Philadelphia Inquirer or NBC, then the story is almost always missing context. Due to social media, traditional mainstream media was forced to double back the next day and say, hey, there's a little more to the story.
Never seen a review the day before.
30 years ago, this would have never happened, and the story would have been left at that. There was no Instagram to correct the news or YouTube for people like me to make a story with a little more context.
At this point, the story would get even crazier as YouTubers and other online sleuths had begun to tie real-life murder cases to Noah, most notably Fat Dame's murder, which made a lot of sense given how much Noah had dissed him in his music, but also Gilly the King's son, YNG Cheese. This rumor being sparked particularly by Gilly's alleged nephew, who had posted a childhood picture of Cheese not long after Noah's murder, together with a caption saying that Cheese could finally rest in peace now that his killer was also dead. Shockingly, this rumor would seemingly be confirmed later on when Gilly himself would admit that this was who killed his son in an interview where Shannon Sharp, completely unaware, had brought up the tragedy of this supposed model student's sudden murder, and Gilly would later also reveal that the police had actually told him that Noah Scurry had been one of the suspects in Cheese's murder investigation all along.
I just read about the 17-year-old basketball player, straight A student. Am I wrong, Gilly? Used to be like the athletes, they got protected. Right. Nobody touched him. Hey, he good now. He gonna be what we, they're gonna be talking about the block. He from the block, he got out. They
protected those guys. What happened? That's who killed my son. The 17? Yeah, the 17-year-old basketball player that just got shot 17 times. Yes. That's who killed my son. Really? It wasn't for my son. Them blocks is beefing. They going through it. My son just so happened to pull up out there 5 minutes. They come to shoot the block up. My son's not from that block. He don't, you feel what I'm saying? He just so happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. These kids is influenced by all the wrong things. Right. That don't matter. That once upon a time when I was growing up in the ghetto, I was influenced by. I told you when I was young, we glamorized the person that was getting money, the hustler. That's why our rap names was like Gotti. Rap game. It was always somebody that was getting some money. Now, it don't be about no money or nothing. They'll kill you about an Instagram post. Right. You said you was gonna slide, you ain't slide yet. Right. Now I slid. What? Are you serious? Right. So, it don't make no sense.
Meanwhile, the youths from rival gangs were celebrating Noah's death with some of the first diss
I
songs
already
getting posted on
know.
social media only a few days after his
Had them
murder.
tracks
One song
already
from a rapper
saved.
called Big 9 Millie, who would post a snippet to his new song where he rapped how Noah's killers did what Batman couldn't, before saying how Noah had become the topic of conversation with his joke.
Why they low key go in?
The joke was now over. Noah's friends, who were rappers on the other hand, were also quick to use the huge media attention around him to their advantage, like the rapper Drench Season, who would drop a song titled Joker, which would receive a mixed reception, as the song didn't actually have a single mention about Noah and was seemingly only named after the Joker to get attention online. But people close to Noah would also seemingly begin to drop all the songs that he had made before he died, with his catalogue quickly growing to a full EP's worth of songs, which would also include features from other rappers close to him, like Qua 4 and Rel Sosa, with most of these being dark diss songs, like his only officially released song Swing My Door, with Noah aiming his disses towards rival gangs like Fast Break, and specific ops like Mally, aka Jamal Tucker, who had allegedly snitched on his friends. However, there would also be more emotional songs, like the song known as Fours Up, or Patience, featuring Qua 4, which gives a rare glimpse into Noah's more introspective side, giving at least some idea to the listener on what could have possibly driven a good kid like Noah to commit some of the most horrible acts that he had been accused of. All of this despite seemingly coming from a relatively good background and likely having a bright future ahead of him. He would rap how he has seen his friends killed by their own cousins and how he's been betrayed by so many people, before saying how many of his friends are in jail and how his cries for help have been ignored, and how he's been in numerous shootouts with his ops, and most notably how people keep telling him that he's going to be the ticket out of the struggle, but something is telling him that he's going to die before he can get out. It seems that at least on some level, Noah knew that the life that he was living was going
he
to
already
end up
knew what
bad
was
for
going
him,
to
but
happen. He just
positive things in life like basketball
kept doing
and
it.
education, he had a chance of making
His mindset already too deep.
consumed by the losses with so many friends, just like his father had pointed out on Facebook. Ultimately, any kind of vision for a positive future just wasn't enough for Noah to let go of the losses that he'd suffered in the streets. Another matter is, of course, the enormous influence of drill music culture. This is a somewhat controversial topic, as many academics, journalists, and other pundits like to point out how music could not possibly influence youths to commit violence, even when these same people have often based entire theories and even careers on the claim that mainstream media pretty much controls our every thoughts and actions. Meanwhile, people within the culture are often the first to admit just how powerful drill music is in normalizing violence and influencing the youth. This influence is hardly a problem for somebody using the violent, raw energy of drill music to get an extra set in at the gym, but it's another story completely when that same music is influencing a youngster growing up in an actual war zone, and where the lyrics end up providing meaning to real-life trauma, with this genre even providing a way out
That
of the
little ass
struggle, if
nigga.
gangsters can turn to artists and use their lived experiences to create music that resonates with others that have been through the same thing. But in a lot of cases, drill music has become the marching music to hype up those listening to continue waging the war in the name of their dead friends. Now, it's certainly not the music's fault, but drill music is an unfortunate symptom of a very dark and demonic energy found within the gang wars of the impoverished hoods of the inner cities. But to bring the story full circle, it seems like the best influences in the city are the likes of Gilly and Wallow, who have both spoken on the need to forgive and move past the grief of losing friends and family to the streets in order to keep thriving positively and providing for their families and communities. Wallow has spoken extensively on the difficult decision to forgive his brother's killer so that he could continue to support his family and provide a positive example to the community whilst keeping hold of his freedom.
My TED Talk, I forgave my brother's killer. That's my TED Talk. My TED Talk is about, see, what happened was, when my brother got killed, it destroyed me, because that was my hero, that was my king. There was so much rage inside of me that when I called home, so many dudes, nobody really knew. It wasn't about no. And I said, listen. I had to get with myself, and I had to say to myself, can my brother come back? All right, bet. No. What is my responsibilities as a man right now? I got to take care of them babies. And then I said, I can't carry around this hatred and this anger. I won't be able to grow. I won't be able to glow because I'm gonna have this big package inside of me, and there ain't gonna be no space to evolve, and I ain't gonna have no space to be receptive to new things and new ideas once I leave prison. And I had to wipe my hands. It took some time, but whoever he is, wherever he at, I don't want him to go to jail. I don't want nobody to kill him because it's not gonna bring my brother back. I hope that empowered him to change, that he got away with it, that he did whatever. I know that I could have been somebody that took somebody's life in the middle of the night. And I'm understanding of the reality of the game we signed up for. In the fine print that was in the street code contract that we signed. I understand that.
In the midst of this brutal tragedy, we have to tip our hat to the likes of Gilly and Wallow, because in the modern day drill culture, so many of the views and attention goes to the most evil of people, the killers, the gangsters, the real ones really doing dirt in the streets, standing on business and rapping about it. It's understandably alluring to feed into that eye for an eye energy that seeks street justice. But the truth is, that mindset is a dead end. It might sound good in songs over a booming demonic beat, but when the music stops and a body is laying dead, cold on the pavement, in silence, there's nothing cool about it. So the story of Noah Scurry should serve as a warning and a lesson to the youth of today's gang culture. There really is no future in perpetuating the cycle of death and destruction that you hear in drill music. Killing only leads to more killing, and the only thing that's going to allow young people in the hood to stop that cycle of violence is forgiveness and an appreciation of the bigger picture. Life is much more precious than drill music would have you believe, and the world is much bigger than the blocks where gunfire and the screams of grieving families echo in the air. So I hope you take something positive away from this extremely dark and devastating story, and finally rest in peace to all of those mentioned in this story who lost their lives before they even truly
Damn,
begun.
10 niggas just like that. That's crazy. Honestly, I really hope like niggas, like the culture start changing, cause niggas are wild right now. Like niggas too wild right now. Like too savage. Like, but I don't know. They're gonna take like some type of crazy force from somewhere, guys. I don't know, to change everybody's mindsets. Cause niggas be beefing over random shit. It's just either y'all gonna get locked up or y'all gonna die. Like it's just so many of my niggas done like locked up or got shot and killed. Like the streets ain't it, bro. And he didn't even have to really be in the streets. I mean, but I can understand from the other side, like so many of your niggas are dying from the streets. Like you just wanna like go out and you know avenge them, but it ain't worth it, cause like it ain't worth it. But let me know y'all fuck with this. I'm gonna try to react to some different shit other than music. Just let me know y'all fuck with this, and I'll start doing more. And if y'all enjoyed that video, drop a like. Fuck with y'all.